Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another Tyler Perry episode of Iron Panther Presents. Today we shall be discussing Ruthless with season 3, episode 2. Um, Another exciting episode. I mean, Tyler Perry gives us not one but two things. Well, people are dying and things are happening. And in this episode, let's take it to Lace and take it to Paula. Lace and Paula, for some reason, has killed the poor old couple who has done nothing but help the Rakadushi ladies try to escape their prison. And they murdered them because they were worried that the sheriff may or may not be involved in the Rakadushi camp shenanigans, and they killed this couple. First, they broke into this couple's house, which means the couple had every right to shoot their happy asses when they caught them busting into their place. But they did not do that. After Tally tried to break into their place, they still did not shoot these women. Instead, they got shot themselves. Rest in peace. I was surprised that it happened. I was like, okay, I didn't think they're gonna move that fast. But Tyler Perry, maybe he heard our cries and he's like, you know what? We got to get things moving. All right. So anyway, we see how that turns out. Let's get back to the other exciting scene, which will be Oliver in the tree and Andrew having their standoff, which once again proves that Tyler Perry is not good at dialogue, okay, particularly conflict dialogue, because it was fucking ridiculous that they want us to believe that Oliver has been sitting in the tree all day and all night, pointing his weapon at not one, but at least 5 people who all have weapons. Okay. Now, since they had Oliver and Andrew had a combat 101 discussion about, the high ground. Yes. But guess what, Andrew? You could send 1, maybe 2 guys onto the other side to flank Oliver and shoot him in the back because there's only one of him. Okay. And if his weapon is focused at you on your Jeep, he can't shoot everybody. So even if he turns his gun to shoot the people who are coming behind him, then you can shoot them from the front, and this shouldn't take so damn long. Then we had the unnecessary conversation of, I don't trust you, because Andrew said that he had the ladies with him, and I was like, well, I know I can't trust you because they're with me. And then Andrew was like, well, you a lying motherfucker because you up here in the tree. So unless all 3 of you are in that tree and I can see you in the tree, clearly you're lying, right? So I was like, this is going too far. Didn't make any sense. And it took way too long. I was like, if Oliver's going to be in the tree this whole time, he should have shot somebody else. I mean, then it would have made sense. And I'm like, okay, this is a tense situation because now Oliver's picking off Andrew's people one at a time. And I'm like, uh-oh. So you got the highest. The highest is being kept aware of what's going on based on the cell phone. So this is where we get into who's going to get into, I guess, Ruth. So Ruth is sitting up there with the highest, stroking his ego, and trying to make sure he stays on her side. And this turns into one of the predictable but cringy dialogue that only Tyler Perry could write. Because I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Tyler Perry loves penis. I don't want to put it out there. Like, I don't know why I keep on saying it, but he keeps on giving it to me. You know what I'm saying? Not the penis. He keeps on giving me dialogue that makes me think about what. So when Ruth was sitting up there stroking the highest ego, saying, you know so much, highest, but you know what you don't know? I was like, don't say it. Don't say it. And she's like, you'll never know the joy of having you inside yourself. I was like, stop it. Like, that's not a compliment. Like, he was like, wow, I'd never had my own penis inside of me. That's amazing. Like, what? Why would Tyler Perry write that? Like, why is that even a thing that needs to be said? To be like, oh my God, it was too much. I thought the highest was going to be like, who else knows the joy of my penis? Daikon. And I thought that would have been kind of interesting considering the conversation Daikon and Ruth have later on. But anyway, Ruth is trying her best to have sex with the highest. He says he will consider her formal request for penis. I mean, basically. And I was like, okay. But anyway, this turns into the conversation of, she's like, well, what's going on outside? He mentions Oliver, he mentions Andrew, and she's like, well, how are you, staying in contact with all this? And he's like, I got a cell phone. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, she got the phone. Now she know where the phone is at, right? So now that she's ascended to above Daikon and above Marva in the structure and the hierarchy of the Raku camp, I guess she's gonna get to the phone, I guess, and call who? Like, what friends does she have outside? She's not calling Barry. Like, that's what's not gonna happen, right? Like, okay, like I'm thinking maybe this version of Barry is not the asshole that we see in the Oval, and maybe she can call Barry for backup. Maybe she can call her sister, because I'm sure in Ruthless, her sister was not beheaded by the first son. Like, I'm pretty sure that didn't happen. So maybe that's her long-term goal. Like, I don't know, but at least she knows where the phone is at, right? So that's an interesting thing. And then when she leaves the highest, then she runs into Joan, who calls her out to be like, he's like, hey, did you calm the highest down? And she's like, yeah, I calmed him down. And she's like, I did it for the greater good of the Raku or some bullshit. And Joan's like, no, you did it for your daughter, which is true. Right. So again, where is her daughter? Where are the kids? Right. Like, that's what my question is at. Also, I'm like, why aren't people running around aimlessly like they were last episode, which is basically a couple hours ago? Like, why are they not running around? I mean, they look ridiculous running around, but how do they know that the highest has settled down and doomsday has not come, and they can stop running around aimlessly around the camp? Like, I didn't understand why they weren't running around. So anyway, they're not doing that. Okay. Speaking of also unnecessary, cringy, dare I say, dialogue, let's get to the beginning of the episode ish with Joan talking to River inside the finance trailer. And River's bright idea that he's basically going to live in the finance trailer trying to avoid Daikon. So Daikon is not ever going to go back to the cooler just to make sure that, River's in it and that he's suffering. Like, that's not going to happen. Hold up. Anyway, so during this conversation, it gets weird. Once again, Tyler Perry writes all this dialogue, right? So I'm interested to understand what's going through Tyler Perry's mind when he has River tell Joan that he wished he had that Ruth is his inner woman. What? And to the extent that he goes so far to say that he wishes he had Ruth's ass and pussy. Which I'm like, what in the fuck is Tyler Perry writing? Like, why are we having this conversation? Is that the Tiano, the gang from Power, Crystal Ball? The Tahanos. I think that would be interesting if he ties it together. That would be interesting. Maybe Crystal Ball, the character, comes back and the Taínos, and he engages with himself as the highest. Right? Like, maybe we try to bring the two worlds together. That would be hilarious. But having a man saying that he wished he had a vagina and he wished he had an ass after he just got done saying that he got ass raped on a regular basis by the highest is kind of what the fuck? Like, what is Tyler Perry writing? Like, where is this dialogue coming from, Tyler Perry? What you working out on the inside that this is how you present these people, these characters, right? And Joan is feeling like, why are you saying these words? And I'm too like Joan, like, why are you saying these words, River? And she's like, we can just leave. And I'm like, no, you can't leave because they have snipers. Remember the snipers they kept on talking about last season? And then River's like, no, we can't because the guards are still out there. And he's like, no, I can't leave because I've been fucked so many times. I need to get this money. if you're willing to fuck for money, then you got a way to make money that don't involve you being raped. Like, you could leave and like be a prostitute or something. Like, you don't have to stay here. And oh, by the way, the fact that he's like, Ruth is his idol doesn't make sense, because it was Ruth who sent him to the highest to be raped last time. Remember? When she was like, you need to get your ass in there and calm him down. And he ended up with a ball gag in his mouth and ended up being thrown in the back after he got, pumped a few times. So I'm like, Tyler Perry, man, why Tyler Perry? Like, why do you have scenes like this? Why do you have dialogue like this? Like, what you doing, bro? Like, talk to me. Like, I'm confused, right? Anyway. Let's move on to Daikon confronting Ruth in the shed, which I'm glad that it happened, right? Because I was like, Daikon thinking that Ruth loves him and that she's pregnant with his child. Okay, just heard her say how she had sex with the highest. I'm like, he needs to get into this, right? So then Daikon, confronts her. And she basically says, yes, I'm fucking the highest to keep us alive. Like, I have to do this. Then Daikon takes an interesting approach to the whole, so is the highest better than me or whatever? And I'm like, oh, okay, that's a man would ask that question. I mean, I get that, right? But then I'm like, the Daikon was also having sex with the highest, right? So he should see Ruth as not only his love interest, perhaps baby mama, but perhaps competition, right? And he seems to get more mad when Ruth tells him that it was River who suggested to highest that he gets a wife. Like, he gets mad at River instead of asking the question, well, if he needs to find a wife, is that what you're going to be? Like, because he's having sex with you, right? So are you trying to say that you're going to be the highest's wife? Like, is this going to be a throuple, as Stacey always likes to bring up? I'm glad he confronted it. But again, neither one of them mentioned the supposed baby that she has. And I thought that was going to come up, but it didn't. And I don't know. So maybe I didn't watch episode 3. So maybe in episode 3 at some point, Daikon gets enough, bravery or whatever, to confront the highest about what about us, we used to have sex in prison, whatever. I don't know. To be like, why are you taking Ruth? But Daikon's not happy, and I understand. Ruth is doing her best to play everybody. So again, I was impressed with that scene. That Ruth was like, I got to adjust my approach, and he's like, well, did you like it? And she's like, well, he's the highest. He's like, yeah, he's the highest. That's not an answer. But she's like, I just wanted to please him. And she's like, oh, damn it, Daikon was all upset. So I was like, that was interesting, drama. That was some good solid drama, good solid dialogue. It didn't drag on too long. So I like that. So then I want to talk about undercover Detective Brian of the FBI, because again, not making a lot of sense. All right. Brian has been undercover in this sheriff's office since season 1, I think episode 1, actually. But the new actress who's playing the deputy, the other deputy, I'm sorry, she's big. Like, she's really big. Like, I was like, who is this woman? Like, she's not the same woman from season 2. Like, I had to go back and watch season 2, and I'm like, that's not the same woman. But anyway, I bring it up because she's talking to Brian like he just got there. Like, she's like, hey, don't mess with the sheriff because he doesn't like to be disturbed when he's in his office. And the sheriff is like a big bear, and you don't want to poke the big bear. And then she's like, why are you asking so many questions, Brian? And Brian's like, well, I'm not from around here. Like, y'all should have had this conversation in season 1. The man has been in this shop for a while. All right. Then we got missing Detective Polk. And this new deputy is like, hey, I'm trying to call Polk to come to work, but he hasn't come to work. And then she gives Brian this whole explanation about how Detective Polk, Deputy Polk is some kind of functioning alcoholic. Once again, Brian has been working there with Polk since season 1, which means he should have known all this anyway. But then I was like, this is not the first time they've been calling Detective Polk. If you go back to season 2, episode 18, the character of this woman deputy, has been calling Polk for over a day at this point, which means somebody should have got their happy asses up to go figure out why Polk is not answering the phone, right? So they need to kind of get this shit moving, but they're acting like she just started calling him in this episode, and that's not true, okay? Also, the sheriff looked like he gained a whole lot of weight too. It could be just me, but I feel like he got fatter. But anywho, the Deputy Kate, I think that's her name. Deputy Kate was like, hey, leave the sheriff alone when he's in his office, right? But when the couple calls and says, hey, we need the sheriff, then the deputy disturbs the sheriff to say, hey, sheriff, you need to get on the phone. I thought you said you couldn't disturb him when he was in his office. But whatever. He gets on the phone. He hears that there's more Raku people at this couple's house. And he says, all right, I'm on my way. Okay. But then he don't go over there. According to Brian, at the end of the episode, the sheriff is at the bar. Like, what bar? Like, when did Detective Brian follow him to the bar? And if he did all that, why did he go inside and talk to him to find out why he's at the bar? Why is Detective Brian in plain clothes, like he's back undercover now at the old couple's house? And did he not hear the gunshots? Like, but I'm like, what are you doing there? Like, why are you not at the Raku camp? But I'm like, then he calls Mac back in DC. Like, what is Mac gonna do? Like, he's too far away to do anything. But I guess he's looking for guidance or something. But yeah, Detective Brian rolls up, and I guess that's gonna be episode 3. Like, I haven't seen episode 3 yet. But somebody needs to go look in the Polk. Like, Polk has been missing for at least 8, 9, 12 hours at this point, at least. So somebody needs to go find his dead body and start that part of the investigation. Melinda, as Spilled the Tea told me yesterday, they found Melinda's body in the glory hole that she made before she was murdered. So then you got Joan, who finds her body, and then Rivers pops up and act like he saw the body before she did, but did nothing to this body. They don't show you the face of Melinda. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's not the actual actress in there. But then I'm like, I hate to be like this, but I'm like, you do remember she was sucking dick before she got murdered, right? So I was thinking, like, did the guy finish? Like, I don't know. I'm like, I mean, was her face covered in something to be like, hey, what was she doing? Like, if they ever get to the body and show the body, I feel like there may be something on her face. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But I'm like, you might want to check. This poor woman is sitting up there dead, and Joan is freaking out, like, oh my God, Melinda was dead, and she was there next to the outhouse. I mean, yeah, but you did nothing about it, so you weren't too worried about it. But like, they should have did something for this poor girl. So we gotta see what's gonna happen. I gotta see what's gonna happen in episode 3 when it comes to that. But again, I like the episode. It was moving. I really appreciate that because again, a lot of episodes were kind of dragging. I would like to get back to the housewives of the FBI in DC. Like, I want to know what's going on with Malcolm and all that. Since we had Lily, I think is her name. She called Daikon last season, which is why he took Tally's daughter back to the Raku camp. Why hasn't Brian looked in on his wife? You know, just to make sure, you know, she's not out there selling her body for drugs or whatever, you know, having sex with more of his coworkers or something. I mean, I would think he might want to check on that. So we need to get into all those different things as we move forward. But yeah, I will do. What did you think of the episode? What you find interesting about it? Did you watch episode 3? Did it get better? without spoiling anything. So Marva mentions that they've been recruiting and that new ladies are coming soon. So since this thing got renewed for another season, are we actually getting new characters with dialogue? And, they're going to be part of the actual conversation since they're murdering characters at a pretty fast rate at this point. Are we going to get some new people? How do they integrate into the overall story? As this prophecy, that's another thing. So the highest is hungry. Ruth says, hey, I'll go get your dinner, daddy. And Marva is making the dinner, right? And she said that she thought the highest was coming to get his own dinner, which one doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm pretty sure in other seasons, Marva was very clear that she is the one that not only feeds the highest, but brings his food to him and to serve him as their deity or whatever. So I thought that was kind of weird. But then when she was talking to Ruth, and Ruth says that the highest has a prophecy. Hey, what's up? What's going on? I think I saw you on the JH review doing Power, right? You guys did a joint review, I do believe. The big review. Anyway, during the conversation, Ruth brings up the fact that the highest is going to give a prophecy which says that Ruth is moving up in the ranks. And Marva says, she was like, how did you convince him? And she does a licking motion. And I'm like, hold up. Why are you doing a licking motion? That would imply that she licked her way to this promotion, but shouldn't she have done a sucking motion? Because, the highest is a man, right? So shouldn't she imply that she sucked her way to this instead of licked her way to this? Like, I don't know why that irritated me, but I was like, that doesn't make sense. Anywho. So we gotta see what this new prophecy was gonna come up. Jay, you got started. JH, I like JH is now doing joint reviews. At least obviously we do it here on our channel. I think it's good just to have multiple voices, just have like right now it's just me, really. But to have Stacy here and other people with different perspectives, I think is good. JH has great production value. It's pretty impressive what he can pull off. So I hope you guys work that out, and we look forward to seeing you at 1:00 for our Force review, episode 6. So we'll get into that soon. So you just started watching this show. You just started watching Ruthless from the beginning. It's pretty exciting in the beginning. Tyler Perry is pretty good at starting off strong. It's just maintaining it seems to be his problem. Because it's too many episodes. It's just too many episodes, and he doesn't know what to do with the characters after a while. But there is some cool moments in the show. I will give it that. And again, these first 2 episodes are a bit strong. So I compliment him on that. But I guess that's it for me. So anyway, that's episode 2. Those are my thoughts. What do you think? If you didn't catch our live stream review, please leave your comments on the video. We will get back to you as soon as possible. I watched it. I didn't watch it from the beginning either. Like, I had to catch up. I had to catch up on Ruthless. I had to catch up on the Oval. And when you binge a show like that, like, somehow it seems faster, right? Because you can just move on to the next episode. And then so the action stuff like kind of jumps at you, kind of keeps you going. But this show goes all kinds of directions. And like, once Tyler Perry got that BET plus level where he can do whatever the hell he wants, I'm like, it's just penises. It's just penises and nasty shit. Like, Tyler Perry got some issues. I'm just saying. And he's using Ruthless to work those issues out. I mean, you'll see. Anyway, that's me. Thank you very much for joining us in the chat. Again, we hope to see you for the other 2 reviews we're doing today. 1:00, we're doing Force. At 2:00-ish, we're going to do From on Epics, episodes 1 through 5. Episode 6 dropped today, but I couldn't see episode 6, so we will review that probably next weekend, I guess, because for some reason, if you only use the online app, you can't get Epic's episodes on the day of. You got to wait till they air on TV, I guess. I'm gonna review it with Kim, and where our schedules work, Kim and I will probably be reviewing from episode by episode the next week. So we got that added to the thing. So I will see you guys in a little bit. Thank you guys very, very, very much. And until next